Arya Stark is one of the most important characters heading into the Winds of Winter, and a record she holds in the A Song of Ice and Fire book series proves it. Whether it's in George R.R. Martin's novels or HBO's Game of Thrones, Arya stands out even among the members of House Stark as being among the very best heroes of the epic saga. Her story takes her on a tumultuous journey even by Westerosi standards, from losing her father and being separated from her family, to shedding her identity, becoming no one, and developing into an assassin. By Game of Thrones ending, Arya had reconciled the differing parts of herself and was ready to forge a new path, going off to search for what's west of Westeros. But will that be the same in the books? With the wait for the Winds of Winter ongoing, it always means the wait for Arya's story to continue is ongoing as well, which is particularly painful not only because she's one of its strongest characters, but also because of just how involved she's been in the series so far. Arya Stark's A Song of Ice and Fire record explained. Arya Stark doesn't have the most point-of-view chapters in A Song of Ice and Fire, an honor that belongs, unsurprisingly, to Tyrion Lannister, with Jon Snow in second place, but she is the only character to appear as a POV character in every book so far, including The Winds of Winter. The biggest reason for this is the divide between A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons, the fourth and fifth books, respectively, in Martin's saga. Originally planned as just one book, with a time jump of several years following on from A Storm of Swords, the plot grew too complicated and required too many flashbacks. Martin eventually scrapped his time jump idea, and reworked the story into two separate books that, for the most part, happen concurrently. Because of that, some of the saga's biggest characters, Daenerys Targaryen, Jon, Tyrion, don't appear at all in A Feast for Crows. Arya is the only POV character from the first three books to then appear in both the fourth and fifth novels, with 3 chapters in Feast, and 2 in Dance, and she has also appeared in the Winds of Winter's preview chapters. Why Arya needed to appear in every A Song of Ice and Fire book? Aside from the issues with the writing of the books, it does make sense that Arya would hold this record. She's very much a fan favorite and one of the 5 characters whose story was planned to span the entire series back when Martin planned for this to be a book trilogy, along with Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, and Bran Stark. But more than that, it's because her story is quite isolated, which necessitates her POV appearances, meaning there's not really another way of getting updates on the character. Most of the other storylines are more interconnected, at least with 1 or 2 other characters who can help show us them, or at least shed a light on what's happening and set things up for the future. For example, we get some thoughts and updates on Daenerys in A Feast for Crows from the likes of Samwell Tarly, with Maester Aemon, Ayan Martell, and Victarion Greyjoy. For Tyrion, we have Cersei putting a bounty on his head. Except for Sam and Arya briefly meeting in Bravos, though neither knows who the other is, she's entirely on her own, making her consistent appearances more vital. The only other major character this really applies to is perhaps Bran, who is off beyond the wall and quite disconnected himself, but he at least has other notable characters, if not POV ones, around him with Hodder, Mira Reed, and Jojen Reed, as well as meeting the Three-Eyed Crow. Arya is much more of a solo journey, so the updates certainly help her progress. What to expect from Arya Stark in the Winds of Winter? Arya kills Sir Meryn Trant. Thanks to Martin's preview chapters, assuming they haven't changed, then we already have some idea of how Arya's story begins in the Winds of Winter. She goes by the name Mercy and works as a mummer, performing a play in Bravos. However, she comes across a man named Raff the Sweetling, the person who murdered Lomi, he of what the F***KS Lomi fame, and seduces then viciously kills him, not too dissimilar to her murder of Meryn Trant in Game of Thrones. This quest for vengeance, alongside continuing her training, will likely form a large part of Arya's The Winds of Winter story, like it did across Game of Thrones seasons 5 and 6. However, with her still experiencing wolf dreams and a deep connection to her direwolf, Nymeria, Thrones cut Arya being a warg, there is still the pull of her old life as Arya of Winterfell, and it's expected that she will eventually make her way back to the 7 kingdoms of Westeros.